BWOne.com, and there were a slew of releases and announcements today, but let's focus really on the biggest announcement, the biggest release today, and that was the official Iron Man 3 trailer. That trailer was awesome, and Iron Man 3, I can't wait for it. Just saw the flagship with the kind of the Captain America looking Iron Man suit there. Oh, and this other thing kind of got announced today, that is the iPad mini. So that's the biggest announcement really in the tech world coming out today, which is the iPad mini was announced alongside some cool other improvements from Apple to their 13-inch MacBook Retina displays now coming, a new really skinny edge-to-edge screen iMac that's coming as well too, and some improvements to the Mac Mini as well too. So now we have an iPad Mini to match up with the Mac Mini. So now we have the Mini family and the regular size family kind of there. So that's pretty cool. So the iPad Mini is going to be Apple's announcement. Apple's answer sort of to a 7-inch sort of tablet category out there, competing up against the Nexus 7, the Nook HD, the Kindle Fire, sort of in all that category right there. So it's just barely can get into there, just makes the cut because it does have a 7.9-inch display, IPS display, backlit LED, and if correct me if I'm wrong, it's not quite on HD resolution. Just below that is 1024 by 768 with a 163 ppi on, that's pixels per inch on there. So it's not the sharp Retina display that you see on the other iPads out there, but it's still going to be a pretty decent display for most people. It does come with a dual-core A5 processor on it. I believe that's about 2 generations old, and I think that debuted with the iPhone 4S or the iPad 2, not exactly sure, but that's a few generations old, and that was still a pretty fast processor for most things that iOS does. It's going to come with iOS 6, so you're going to get all the nice features and advancements of that, including those great maps that are included with iOS 6 as well too, so good luck with that. It's going to have a 5-megapixel camera on the back of it. That's pretty much not seen in this category, the 7-inch level. A lot of them don't have rear-facing cameras, and if they do, they're really low. So 5 megapixels with 1080p HD HD video recordings. Really cool to have that there, especially for people that love to take their giant iPad and take pictures and stuff. Now they can do it on a small screen, of course. And there is a FaceTime HD camera in front of it. I think it's at 1.2 megapixels. Yep, that's accurate there. They say it has about 10 hours of battery life on total with it, so that should be pretty accurate since this is running not as powerful hardware as you see in the iPad 3, and there's actually a bump up for the next version, the iPad 4th generation is what they're calling it, is kind of the spec bump up to that. This comes with the Lightning port as well too, so the new ports are going to be there, so you're going to need an adapter for your old accessories, so that's going to kind of stink there in terms of that. But overall it's thinner, lighter, looks very similar to how the new iPods look, but just a little bit more stretched out. Has a nice look, sort of edge-to-edge glass with it as well too. Weighs in it about 0.68 pounds. It's there's a Bluetooth and all the other connections that you would expect, and there's also not only a Wi-Fi version but a 4G LTE version as well. And the pricing starts off at $329 for the 16GB Wi-Fi version, $429 for the 32GB, and $529 for the 64GB. Now, if you want to get anything with 4G LTE in it, you're basically going to add about $130 or so to that price. So that starts off, I believe, at $459, $559, and $669. With 16, 32, and 64 gigabytes respectively. Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon will all carry the LTE version of this new iPad. So that's pretty cool there for people that are looking for both Wi-Fi and 4G LTE. So that's pretty much the specs for the iPad mini. Some people are already saying it doesn't compare well to the Nexus 7, Kindle Fire HD, the Nook HD as well too. And some people are questioning the pricing at $329. My personal thoughts on that is that the pricing is pretty much sort of in line with sort of Apple's ecosystem, more so than trying to in line with the competition at that $329 price range, sort of how they have all their stuff priced out. And Apple's always going to have a bit of a premium price on most of their things. This is kind of how they are. Everybody's always expecting this cheap price on things with Apple. It's never been their way. Whatever the lowest price you think, always add about $100 to $150 to it. And that's pretty much what the Apple price is going to be, and that's just how they price things, and they've been successful with it. So I'm not surprised. So the battle's going to be interesting in this 7-inch tablet market. I think this is something that this holiday season Apple's probably going to dominate pretty well again. It's going to be primarily because of their ecosystem. A lot of people are tied into the iOS ecosystem, iTunes, and the apps, and they already have a ton of tablet apps already there, and it's going to be really easy for people that make apps for tablets, for the larger iPad, to make sure the resolution works inside the new iPad mini. It shouldn't take too much out. It should just dominate. It should just kind of fit kind of automatically there. I would think there may be some minor tweaks there with that, but that's going to be the big thing. The ecosystem is very strong with Apple, unlike with Android, where Android is very strong as far as sort of phones and smartphones as far as their apps are concerned, but in tablet side of things, they've always been lacking behind in that, and they still are. It's a lot better than it was before with the Nexus 7 being released and sort of getting more developers to push more apps, tablet-based apps out there. One of the nice things about that is with Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, if you notice, and the Nexus 7, it has more sort of that phone sort of look and interface with it, which is a smart thing because that should make it a lot easier for the Android developers to kind of move their apps over in an easier way instead of having to look at sort of a whole different interface, sort of how you had with Android 3.0 comparative to Android on a smartphone there. But that's still something that dominant that Apple's going to have there. So, you know, I think the Nexus 7, even though hardware-wise it's still more powerful, full HD display. Pretty much the Kindle Fire and all the Nook HD and Nexus 7 have HD displays, while the iPad Mini doesn't. But it's going to be really the software and services that's really going to dominate here, and that's where I think the Kindle Fire HD is really going to be Apple's biggest competition in this. And while I don't think it's really going to be a case of one's going to really steal the competition from the other, it's really going to be a case of they're going to be answering pretty much to their own market and to their own fans and their own customers out there. But if you use a lot of Amazon services, you're pretty much going to be getting yourself a Kindle Fire if you're in the need for a tablet. Now with the iPad Mini, I think this is answering those users that are in Apple's ecosystem or were thinking of getting a tablet and they like Apple products, but they just didn't want the 9.7-inch larger iPad. They want something a little more compact, a little bit smaller, and something a little bit more pocket, something to store into a purse relatively easy, and something sort of maybe, you know, to upgrade from that e-reader, because that's where a lot of people are also going to be coming from going into the 7-inch tablet market. They were using e-reader before, and they're looking to get a little more advanced, and I think this is where the iPad Mini is going to be able to compete very well in, and the Kindle Fire HD is going to compete very well in this category. So the battle's going to be interesting there, especially if the price difference is there and the storage differences as well too, since the Kindle Fire is still, even at its highest storage point, is still cheaper than what the lowest iPad is. So it's going to be interesting there to see how well that's going to work in terms of competition. But it should be interesting, and competition always is very, very good in terms of getting innovation, getting these companies to create really cool products for us to buy and use, and change our world. So always good stuff there. But I want to know your thoughts on that. So what do you think of the iPad Mini? Is it better than the Kindle Fire, Nexus 7, or Nook HD? Share your thoughts below here. Share your thoughts at BWOne.com as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page here, all those social networks. The link to that is in the description. And always remember to live your tech world in high definition.